The case for climate realism in Canada. Canada is the coldest country in the world, and much of the land is close to uninhabitable because it is too rocky and cold to grow anything. And yet, we have been a destination for waves of immigrants who have chosen to farm the earth, become educated, start businesses, and raise their families. Against the odds, we have created a country that has a ranking in quality of life that is one of the best in the world. How has this come about? There are many reasons. Canada has attracted motivated immigrants, many of whom were fleeing from persecution, war, or regimes that were bureaucratic, corrupt, and oppressive. We have cultivated a cooperative, law-abiding society that is relatively free from corruption, and we have built infrastructure and taken advantage of our plentiful natural resources. However, over the last year, there has been a surge of demonstrations with roads being blocked, railways obstructed, and infrastructure projects shut down. The demonstrators are calling for system-wide changes and campaigning for us to stop using oil and gas to avoid a worldwide climate crisis. The climate movement started with good intentions. Who hasn't seen the 2006 movie An Inconvenient Truth that showed how increases in atmospheric carbon dioxide from burning fossil fuels was going to cause a catastrophic increase in global temperatures? The CBC and the mainstream press has been endlessly repeating the message that every storm, every weather event and wildfire is due to something abnormal in the Earth's weather. Voices calling for social revolution are growing louder, and moderating voices are being shut down. In the panic, we have been losing sight of what scientists have been discovering over the last 2 decades. The Earth's temperature isn't behaving as it was illustrated in the movie. There are no credible scientific papers showing there is an impending catastrophe. In fact, there are a growing number of scientists that are expressing their concern, writing in reputable journals that climate science is being misrepresented by the alarmists. Canadians, particularly those living in rural and northern areas, need reasonably priced energy to survive. And yet, our government is using the alarm as a justification for raising taxes on the energy that we depend on for heating, cooking, farming, transport, and earning a living. Wind turbines are no solution. They are environmentally destructive, and their energy is 9 times more expensive than traditional forms. Current policies are weakening Canada and compromising our ability to address the many environmental issues the world faces. Climate Realism Canada is a new organization with the objective of unifying and amplifying the voices of the many individuals and organizations who are concerned about the direction our country is headed. We want to spark debate about the current assumptions and policies by asking questions such as these. Do we wish to see the price we pay for energy increase along with everything else we need, including food and education? Shouldn't politicians make clear the effects their climate change promises will have on our lives and the well-being of future generations? Will increasing taxes on energy really help stop the climate changing and prevent bad weather? How can we stop our manufacturing jobs being driven overseas and instead spur innovation to develop new forms of energy, transport, and living? Do we honestly want to see our resource industries shut down and our country torn apart? Shouldn't our schools be teaching children to appreciate the wonders of nature rather than teaching a version of climate science that is years out of date and causing children mental trauma? Shouldn't the CBC and our mainstream press report actual scientific findings, even if they're complex, rather than repeating politically motivated headlines about climate change? The voices of mainstream Canadians are not being heard. If you have benefited from living in Canada, please speak up to protect this country from being wrecked by climate alarmists. Please join our movement. There needs to be more realism for the sake of future generations. And please like this video and share it with your friends.